Hey everybody, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark. We are reacting to Donald Trump's news conference, I guess it was, standing over a beautiful vista in California. I thought California was a hellscape, just maybe not on Donald Trump's golf course. I guess maybe everywhere else around it. But he had a lot of thoughts about how the country is going to hell, and about Marxist Kamala Harris, and about David Muir's hair. So we're going to cover all of it. I'm here with MAGAville reporter Marc Caputo. Mark, what was I guess we'll start here. What was the point of this news conference? What was he trying to do?
He just wanted to have a press statement to talk about how California sucks. But okay. It being Donald Trump.
At the most beautiful possible location in California. You could sense how much it sucked there, among the coastal elites. Yeah.
Correct. It's like California sucks, but he also wanted to feature the golf course. He wanted to have some good visuals, so he did it from there. And then even though his campaign said ahead of time that he probably wasn't going to do a press conference and take questions, the reality is if there's a bunch of reporters in front of Donald Trump and he's talking in a mic, he's going to take questions.
So he took them. So, but was there a message? What was the mess? Was there any message besides just he wanted people to talk about him?
Yeah, it was California sucks because of Kamala Harris. But it being Trump, there were lots of messages.
So is he staying there? Was it like, does he have a fundraiser or like?
He has a fundraiser, and I think he's got an event in Nevada.
So it's like while he's out there on the West Coast, it's like why not just dunk on Kamala a little bit? You wrote a while back about how he was going to try the sort of Willie Horton redux. There was a little bit of that today, just sort of going through Kamala's record. I mean, it wasn't, maybe the most disciplined, but what are they trying to do there?
Yeah, just point by point, just bringing up different cases when she was a prosecutor of people who got sentences that he thought were too lenient or who went on to commit crimes after their lenient sentences. And, that's sort of the recall of the Dukakis hit that some of his advisors, including Tony Fabrizio, had participated in way back when in 1988. And now here you are in the modern era, and they're like, look, she doesn't have one Willie Horton in her past. She's got a bunch. The problem, which you sort of identified there, is it just doesn't come across as punchy and cohesive from them. And they haven't really done like kind of an ad series about it, which I thought they were going to do.
Yeah. And Willie Horton became a household name, right? You got to lean in on one if you're going to try to make it work. And then also you've got the baggage of the fact that Trump pardoned a man down, I think it was down in your neck of the woods in Florida, who recently went on to attack his wife. You seen that story? One of those,
right? He was in prison for a bunch of years,
Jamie Davidson. I got it here.
I cannot remember the exact specifics, but yes, that happened.
Tough break, Donald. So I want to play a couple of clips here from some of the other messages, if you will, that he was trying to get forth. Obviously, there's been a lot of mocking and criticism about his moment on the debate stage, remixed on TikTok catchily, about how they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets in Springfield. Since then, 2 schools in Springfield were evacuated today. There's been just a lot of targeting of the Haitian migrants that he is lying about. And so you might have thought that maybe there'd be a pivot. No pivot. Let's listen to one of the clips of him talking about Springfield.
In Springfield, Ohio, 20,000 illegal Haitian migrants have descended upon a town of 58,000 people, destroying their way of life. They've destroyed the place. And people don't like to talk about it because even the town doesn't like to talk about it because it sounds so bad for the town. They live there. They're proud. They love the town. For years, it was a great place, safe, nice. Now they have 20,000, and I actually heard today it's 32,000. It's the new number.
So yeah, I mean, Donald Trump's, I guess, not one to apologize, but no pivot. We're going whole hog on the pet eating.
100%. I did a story the other day about the original plan was for Donald Trump to pivot when he got asked the dog question on the debate stage. Of course, he didn't pivot. He just sort of blurted out on his own accord, they're eating the dog, they're eating the cats without any foundation. But subsequently, while his folks who were familiar with his debate strategy said, yeah, look, he blew it. He was supposed to pivot and do this other stuff. Other people in his campaign and his orbit said, we're going to keep talking about it because they think they can sort of drive this message successfully. Now, maybe the campaign can, but I'm not sure the candidate is doing that effectively.
Yeah. Then you also have this line I thought was notable. Now, the Haitian immigrants that are in Springfield I guess I can't speak for every single Haitian immigrant, but by and large, they're legally under the temporary protected status that Haitian migrants were granted, and so that made this little clip particularly noteworthy.
I can say this: we will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio. Large deportations. We're going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela. You know, he told Biden he's not accepting anybody back. They moved all their criminals. Not all of them, but the rest are moving in now. They emptied their jails in Venezuela, emptied their criminals, emptied the nests. They call them nests of bad people. They're all now in the United States, and they're now taking over cities. It's like an invasion from within. And we're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country. And we're going to start with Springfield and Aurora.
So he's going to deport them. The legal migrants, he's planning on, they're part of the mass deportation now. I don't know how that works exactly.
Nor I. And Trump, before he left office, actually granted up TPS to a lot of people, except they were Venezuelans. So there's a lot of Venezuelans in the United States who are thankful for what Donald Trump did before he left office. Being in Florida, where I'm based, there's a long history of the Haitian American community, the Haitian community, thinking that it often receives short shrift on more generous immigration policies that have especially been showered on Cuban Americans. And then now you see, Trump, I think, even suggested he might want to deport some of these people to Venezuela somehow. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you can take, A, they're here legally, and it would be pretty strange to then send them to a third country with a different language that they don't speak. I don't know that that's really in the American tradition. All right, you also have Trump. You've done some reporting on Laura Loomer. You have a story out today in the Bulwark that people should check out. Laura Loomer, we've been talking about. If you're watching this feed, I'm sure you know who this is. Unapologetic Islamophobe, conspiracy theorist, Donald Trump superfan. She was on the plane with him twice this week, causing some blowback among everyone from Tom Tillis to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Before I play the clip, talk about your reporting about what is happening in Trump world vis-a-vis his friend Laura.
When you have Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lindsey Graham, who are sort of on the polar ends of the spectrum of MAGA world or Trump world, they both dislike her. They think she's too caustic. Her reaction to that was to basically call Marjorie Taylor Greene a slut and to insult Lindsey Graham or to raise the question about whether he's gay or not. So
she threw me into that mix today. She was like, Lindsey Graham went and talked to the first gay reporter he could find,
as if he's got a divine rod, right? Like he's gonna go find gay people or something. I don't know.
I do have to fact check. I know this will be hard for people to believe. I actually approached Lindsey Graham. He did not approach me. So sorry to ruin Laura Loomer's homoerotic fantasies, but nothing to see here. Anyway,
but
continue.
yeah, she's all gas and no brakes, and that's what makes Laura Loomer kind of such a perfect fit for MAGA world. And so when he gets asked at the press conference today if he's going to sort of back away from her, well, that's the last thing he's going to do. I mean, he invited her on the plane because he likes her, and he likes her because we wrote that she like vociferously defends him. I think that probably undersold it. She just brutally attacks anyone that she perceives as disloyal, especially fellow Republicans. And there's especially DeSantis. She just lit DeSantis and DeSantis' campaign and people on fire last year.
So here we've got the clip of Trump getting asked about this and getting asked about all Laura's outrageous statements and the fact that Republicans are attacking him for it.
Your Republican colleagues or your allies who are concerned about your close relationship with Laura Loomer?
Well, I don't know what they would say. Laura's been a supporter of mine, just like a lot of people are supporters, and she's been a supporter of mine. She speaks very positively of the campaign. I'm not sure why you asked that question, but Laura is a supporter. I don't control Laura. Laura has to say what she wants. She's a free spirit.
My favorite part of that line, Mark, she's a free spirit. That's what Donald Trump says about Laura Loomer. She's a free spirit. That's one way to put it.
That is, she's a free spirit who looks like Rambo from one of those movies, just kind of gunning at everything, right? I mean, she's just a flamethrower like in Aliens with Ripley. That is why she's there. It's why she's flying around with Donald Trump. It's why Donald Trump, assuming Laura continues to do what she does, which is kind of praise Trump and attack anyone who's an enemy, will always be in his good graces and will always have a spot on the plane. I think there's one point someone had asked him, hey, well, she was on the plane, and he's like, it's a big plane. There's a lot of people on it.
Yeah.
Right? So, but yeah, let's just be clear about one thing. The idea that Laura Loomer is some sort of advisor, and Loomer was the one to blame or credit, depending on your point of view, with the idea of bringing up the Haitian cat eaters urban myth. That's not the case. That was mainlined by J.D. Vance, his own running mate. She glommed onto it afterward. Yeah. And then, of course, in typical Laura style, then added that some Haitians might be cannibals. But that she's not, I wouldn't put her per se in the advisor category as much as like a confidant thing. Like he talks to her about things that he wants to do. Like Trump does this. He finds people who agree with him, and then he bounces ideas off of them that he knows that they're going to agree with, and they're like, okay, and then he goes and does what he wanted to do anyway.
I also am just amused by like the Tom Tillises of the world, these straight-laced Republican types being like, I am shocked that there is a conspiracy theorist on Donald Trump's plane, and I'm so offended. You must get this conspiracy theorist off of the plane. And it's like, have you seen whose name is on the side of the plane, Tom?
It's the MAGA version of the scene in Casablanca, right? Like, you're winning, sir. There's gambling going on in that establishment.
There's gambling going on in that establishment. True. All right, finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't focus on what clearly was the key message of this press conference for Donald Trump. It was not apparent maybe what his advisors wanted to be the key message, but if you just looked at what he gave the most emphasis to and passion to, it was his discussion of David Muir. Let's listen.
You wouldn't have to need a Bureau of Justice statistics to know that crime is worse than it's ever been. And I guess they probably watched the debate and they heard this foolish man, this foolish fool, make that statement to me that no, crime is coming down. The FBI said it was coming down. The FBI defrauded everybody because what they did is they used statistics not including some of the worst areas and some of the worst cities. So the real numbers are from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, and they just released it. So I think they probably like me because they wanted to defend me from people that are not smart, from a guy who has good hair, but not as good as it was 5 years ago, to be honest.
All right. Not a bad hit there. David Muir's hair, not as good as it was 5 years ago. I could say that for most of us, I guess.
But yeah, I used to have color, right, in my hair,
Your hair's looking nice. You're just off of a cut. I guess the only serious thing to take away from this is dude is still seething a little bit about the moderators.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is like, it's a mixed bag. I mean, Trump lost the debate. Trump told a bunch of falsehoods, including some whoppers. But Kamala Harris told falsehoods that were not whoppers and far fewer, but only Trump got fact-checked. And, I mean, in the end, like, why they decided to be just kind of partial fact-checkers and not go all the way, I don't know. But this was a predictable reaction. And I think the ABC moderators and Muir gave Trump at least the out he was hoping for. I mean, the biggest problem with Trump on stage, I mean, outside of his various complaints, he says it was a 3-on-1 debate because of the moderators, and facing Kamala Harris, it was a 4-on-1 debate. And the biggest opponent that Donald Trump had that he stumbled across was himself. Yeah. Like, he was so mad, he couldn't control his impulses, he couldn't stay on message. And there are a number of people in this camp, which I wrote about, who were just sort of shaking their head at all of the missed opportunities.
Also, this is also kind of, like, putting aside whatever you think about whether Muir did a good job, the complaining about it is part of the excuse making that builds the rationale for him not to do it in the debate.
I agree. Do you remember Newt Gingrich in 2012?
Oh, yeah.
Like Newt Gingrich showed how you can turn lemons into lemonade as a debater by attacking the moderator on stage and really putting him on the defensive. But, like, Trump couldn't do that either.
Yeah, the whole thing is like, it is, reminiscent of the complaining of the Joe Biden thing. They did the same thing after Joe Biden lost. It was like, oh, the moderators didn't fact check enough. The Democrats were saying this, and Donald Trump gish galloped. And it's like, you just can't win a debate if you're dealing with a gish galloper. And it's just like, no, actually you can. Kamala Harris showed it 2 months later, and Donald Trump could have easily navigated, and I think almost any other politician could have easily navigated those fact checks, because most of them wouldn't have been fact checked, because I can't think of any other politician besides maybe his running mate who would have been on stage talking about how the pets are being abducted and eaten. So anyway, such is life.
They're eating the cats, right? Yeah.
They're eating the dogs.
Yeah.
They're eating the cats. Marc Caputo, thank you always for your insight into MAGA world. Everybody, subscribe to the feed. We'll be back soon. Peace.